Welcome to Today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone, and we have a jam-packed episode today. We have our Mayor, Scott Galvin, and we're going to talk a whole bunch of questions about things going on in the city. We have Susan, who's going to tell us all about her local bakery, which is, by the way, my absolute favorite cookies. I can't wait to talk about them. I'm drooling thinking about it. Tina is going to be joining us to talk about a really excellent program to adopt a high school senior and what that means. And I think Nicole might be popping on at some point as well to chat with us about a Senior Smile program she has going on for some of our elderly communities. So lots and lots going on. Welcome, Scott.
Thank you.
So I have a host of questions that have come in. They are not organized, I'm going to be honest, in any meaningful way. It's going to feel like we're bopping around a little bit. So I appreciate your patience. But what I thought we could start with was just a quick update on COVID vaccination distribution. I saw your announcement about vaccines going regional, and for right now, we've put the vaccinations on hold for first dose vaccines in the city by the Board of Health. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. A couple people asked me a follow-up question from that discussion last week, that there are signs of some cities coming together to create regional centers, and those regional centers then meet a threshold by which the state says, yes, you can do vaccine distribution. Are we going to do anything like that?
Yeah, I've talked to a couple of different town managers around us. And the thing about the regional, that what they really become is state sites, because you set up a regional site, you kind of have to take the lead. You've got to put up your funding.
Okay.
And then you have to test 750 people a day, guaranteed 750 a day. And the sites are open to everybody, not just, if you joined a regional collaborative, you have to take everybody from around the state. So it seems to me there's, at this point, we're still looking at it, but it's not as, from putting in the time and all that, it's a lot of work. And as I said, what you're really doing is opening up a mass site for the state.
Okay.
So at this point, we're not planning on doing one. What we're hoping is that, with the approval of Johnson & Johnson this weekend, and with as more people get vaccinated, what we're finding is not everybody wants the vaccine. And, you see, I read an article in the Globe this weekend about the military, people in the military. It's like 35% aren't interested. And we see that, not interested, but when we offered the vaccine first time around, same thing with city employees, it was about 30% weren't taking it. So, at a certain point, there's going to be more vaccine out there, more availability, and we're hoping it's sooner so we can, get back to doing clinics at the senior center, particularly for those elderly and not even just elderly, but those people who are not as mobile as others and would like more local sites. So we're hoping that does come back. We also, have a big fish to fry with getting our employees, particularly the teachers, vaccinated. You and I have talked about the importance of that, and we're really hoping to be a part of that to help get our 800 to 1,000 educational staff tested and get the kids back to school. We think that's really important.
Great. And I know that some communications have been going out from Leahy and some of the local medical staff around us. For those who are justified, they are starting to do some appointments. I don't think it's very big, but I have been seeing some of that as well.
That's a really good thing. The Beth Israel, Leahy, that group, as well as the Mass General, they are getting direct vaccine from the Commonwealth, and they'll be able to just vaccinate their own membership, which is a good thing. So they don't have to, some of the hospitals like Melrose, Wakefield, which is good too, but those hospitals, there's probably a dozen of them that are getting a vaccine. They have to offer to everybody, not just patients in Melrose, Wakefield, anybody across the Commonwealth. So there's a number of hospitals like that, but the Mass General and the Leahy are actually getting doses specifically for their patients. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, and so I think we would encourage, if you are a patient at Leahy, and you can't just like, oh, now I'm going to go start because they have some doses, that won't
Yeah.
work. But if you are a patient and you get a communication from them that you're eligible, that's a great way to get an appointment
Yeah.
locally. So, we certainly would encourage people to take advantage of that if it's offered to them. And those hospitals groups are reaching out to patients individually
Yeah.
as they become available. Excellent. One other COVID question I want to ask you. So we are about, I think today, or maybe it's tomorrow, we're entering a little bit of broader availability of some of the recreational things that had been closed, and some changes to dining and some other things. And one of the questions that came up from a couple people was if playing pool will be allowed in the new restrictions. And my understanding is that the city has to decide if it wants to authorize that. So it's a very specific question, but it may also lead to a broader question. Are there any restrictions that you're putting in place for Woburn different from what the general state guidelines are?
No, we won't, and I think we've been following the state right along, and I think that it's been what we've done. I know a few of the other cities and towns have taken more restrictive measures, but we've followed the lead of the governor and gone from there. We're happy that we're moving forward with more openings and more phased openings. With the vaccine coming out, becoming more readily available, numbers are going down, and like we say, we don't get too far ahead of ourselves with those numbers, because those can change. But I do think with the number of people who've already had COVID-19 and with the vaccine, we're definitely heading in the right direction. So, I think it's time we help some of these businesses, and, not at the expense of, public safety, but I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, and with the vaccine, and we're still with, in the restaurants, you're still required 6 people at a table, distance in the restaurant. I think the safeguards are there to help. So we're going to follow those.
So for those who have pool tables, that's actually, you could play that 6 feet apart. There's really no reason not to, I would imagine. Or do you anticipate those?
There was something that came across my email today, and we haven't confirmed it, but I think people have been having discussions with the ABC, the Alcoholic Beverage Commission, and I think there'll be, we'll have a better answer on that by the end of the week about what, or the middle of the week, what the regulations are. But I would be optimistic that would be allowed as well.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yep.
In years past, I'm sorry, I don't remember the board or commission name, but they on Arbor Day, they've honored that by selling trees. Is that something that we'll be able to do this year, or is with COVID restrictions, are we not able to do
No,
that?
that's a good question. The Conservation Commission has had a really successful program where they were getting taking orders for trees. I think there was a price on them. I'm not sure, Samantha, but it was really successful. They, one year they partnered with Megan McHugh over at McHugh's. In the other couple times they've done it right here in the City Hall parking lot. I know it's been a very popular program, so I'll reach out to Teresa. And Teresa would be a really good guest to have on too. Teresa Murphy, she's conservation.
Great.
So I'd talk to her and say you're interested at some point in having her on to talk about, what they see coming up for programs, because they also have the the day in the spring where there's a volunteers clean up the pond.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be able to get that going. We didn't do it last year, but there's a lot of things that on the city side that I think we're going to be able to get going in May, June, and July that we weren't able to do last year.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm very excited about that. Thank you for those updates. I want to switch gear. I actually have, I wasn't going to, but because I'm tired of talking about the library, but I had several questions that came up that I want to just raise. You may or may not know the answers to. So there has been a little bit of confusion. Currently, we have 2 of the trustees that had not resigned. You've nominated 2 additional people to be trustees, and I believe that they are confirmed by City Council at this point, or about
Yes,
to?
they have been.
Okay. So with 4 people, my understanding is that means we have 4 active trustees right now. So first of all, is that true, or is there anybody else who's?
That's all. We do have 4 active trustees.
Is that a quorum enough that they can hold meetings, or do we
No.
have to wait? No. Okay.
They cannot hold meetings until they have a quorum, which is 5. So there's ways we can work on that, and
Okay.
we'll get
Okay.
to that.
Thank you. That's what I was asking. Let's talk a little bit about the ledges. So the ledges project is one that we know our neighbors in North Woburn have had a tough couple of years. There's been a lot of blasting and a lot of things going on. And I believe in April, so next month, will have been 2 years from when the blasting permits were issued. And at the time, they were expecting 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah.
Do we anticipate that we are at that point, we will be done with the blasting, or do we have any insight that they will ask for an extension?
I don't have insight that they're going to be asking, but I think it's tapering. The blasting has been tapering off. And according to the building inspector, it is, there's still some to go, but not much. There will continue to be activity up there where they're taking the crushed stone off the site. So that'll continue. They were set back somewhat by the COVID, which that's the feedback we're getting from their people. They were set back a few months with that. So they are still moving, but there's been a lot of work on the site. No question, it's been disruptive, maybe more so than advertised. It's been disruptive, though, to the neighbors up there, definitely.
One of the concerns for the community of people who were there, and I mean, I'm not an expert. I'm fortunate not to live there, but I've seen the pictures. Dust control was promised. It's proven difficult to do. I'm not even going to question whether they're trying or not. Not for me to ask, but it isn't working. As they remove gravel and start to build, are there any additional measures that the building permits or environmental protection or anybody can put in place to help sort of mitigate the situation as we go into the spring and summer?
They did have a very significant dust control, even though it didn't appear that way. They had a significant system up there that the Board of Health, the Board of Health director was on top of them regularly. And it was a thankless job for him because he was up there every day dealing with complaints, and no one would want to live near a site like that. No question about it. It's to say it's difficult or disruptive doesn't even come close to the description I'm sure that, a number of the neighbors went through up there. But there was a very elaborate dust control system. They had, sprinkled, they had built like $100,000 system up there. And it did take down a lot of the dust like it was supposed to, but there were certainly situations where we had pictures and, emails from neighbors up there about the dust. So you continue to go up there. We had monitored it with Board of Health, and again, it's a very frustrating situation. But
yeah, it's clearly disruptive. It like any project like that would be. Now there were a retaining wall permit built, with leads us to believe, and the blasting is starting to scale down, that perhaps we're about to move into sort of building phase, once the rocks move. Do we know who is going to be building there at this point?
no, we know who the owner is. We do not know if he's the builder, or we do not know if he's going to build it or if he's going to sell it or what he's doing, but
Okay.
we know.
So at this point, we have retaining wall permits, but nobody's put in permits for actual building yet. Is that
No.
correct? Okay. All right. That's helpful. Thank you. For those folks who have claims that there has been property damage, is there anything that we can do to support their efforts to get support for clearing, fixing, addressing any damage that was done?
Well, there's a
unintentionally, right?
there's a process, and all the neighbors up there, and I shouldn't say all, but to my understanding is they would know what the process was. If they had damage, they would go through the fire department, file the claims, and that's where the process is. We can certainly, again, at a point when, if people have specific questions, they can call my office about that, or we can have them directed right to the fire department, and they can make sure that they have put their claim into the appropriate people for the appropriate review.
Okay, thank you.
But I'd be available anytime to talk to them if they want to call.
Okay, well, I really appreciate you answering those questions. There have been some common ones that have come up. Before I let you go, Scott, I want to talk one other thing. There was what I believe was a full-time or an ad in a paper. Some pretty hefty demands from folks at the, who are neighbors to the Vale project, who are unsatisfied with or don't feel confident that the building that's going to happen there will protect wildlife and their properties and such. And I don't have any information about the merits of those concerns or claims, but is it something that the city council is looking at in any way, to the best of your knowledge?
Well, this has been, this project has been ongoing for a long time, Samantha, and I want to say, if I said back to 2015, that's when I'll have to check my notes, but I think 2014 or 15, we were notified by, the gelatin that they were shutting down and doing the winding down process. And that was, at that point, it was a pretty exciting time for the city and talking about the potential for the site. And it went through a number of zoning hearings, and what would be the best use of the land and how we would rezone it. And those went on for, over a year in front of the city council about what would happen. So the plan, the zoning was, again, advertised, talked about in the newspaper it was a pretty good story. So there was plenty of exposure.
Today in Woburn back then, Scott, how was it?
We could have used you back then, but there was a lot of exposure. I know people have different things going on in their lives, like a lot of younger families. They're concerned about their kids, and maybe they weren't aware of it at the time. But it's been going through the process. The city council has had a number of public hearings on the phased uses. So I don't know what all the requests are, so I don't want to comment on them. But it's been a very transparent process, and sometimes people either move into the city and they didn't realize that, or they might not have been paying attention because they had something else going on their lives. But it's been well publicized, and about what's happening. With that being said, the city council certainly does listen to the input, but most of the city councils around there now have been involved from the beginning with the planning on this whole development, and we're well aware of what was going in there, and endorsed the uses. So,
well, let's hope that it's sort of an eyesore, unused space right now. So hopefully it'll be a positive outcome.
Yeah, it was a terrible eyesore. A hulking old building, a rusting old building that had, from the history, there's a lot of there was pollution up on the site that's being cleaned up. So there's a number of good things that go on with the development that clean up the property. But anytime you have a development of that size and magnitude, people will now, come out and oppose it. And they have the right to do that and make their demands, but the city council also will look at it from their perspective and make the decision.
Yeah. Look, it's not easy. We had a house built across the street and they tore a bunch of trees down. Now it was really hard to watch those trees go. So yeah. I can imagine having sort of an ongoing construction type situation, but thank you for the update. I appreciate that. Yep. Anything else you want to cover off on before we hop over to Susan, please?
What do we want to cover up on? No, I think, we did have it's not a secret. Bill Campbell, the city clerk, is taking on a new job with the state, a big job with the state. So we're going to miss him and really miss Bill. There's some big shoes to fill there. He's done a great job. So, we're going to miss him. I know it's not a secret, but he was tabbed for a very prestigious job with the state, which goes to show what they think about him. So you could probably have him on sometime, but that's going to be, that's a city council appointment, and they'll be looking to fill his position, which again, isn't going to be easy, but I'm sure they'll make the right choice.
Well, thank you for this. Bill is, part of our fabric of our community. So yeah. Definitely not easy shoes to fill. So right. we will definitely miss him. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Scott. I appreciate all those updates. I'm Susan. I'm going to have you come on. We're going to talk all about cookies. Throughout the month of March, we're trying to recognize and talk about some of the women-owned businesses in Woburn, and I'm thrilled that Susan's the first one here. First of all, Susan makes my drool-worthy favorite lavender cookies. I will never stop dreaming of them. They are amazing. Tell us what inspired you to start Goodies Homemade.
Thank you, Samantha. What inspired me to start this was when my daughter went off to college. I missed her very much, and I would often send her packages, not cookies. And one time when she called to thank me, she said, "Could you please just send me goodies?" And that's what we called our baking. When she was tiny, her brothers were younger than her, and they were wonderful nappers, and she was not. So we I would have to do something. I wanted to do something with her, just her, so that it was our time together and she wasn't sitting in front of the TV. So we would bake, often cookies, just whatever. Just I was a stay-at-home mom, so I had, times to fill in. So that's what I did. I would start sending her cookies, and then she had friends off at other schools, and whether if it was a friend who was having a birthday or a friend who broke up with the boyfriend, she was like, "Could you just send so and so some cookies?" And I had fun with it, and I thought, "Oh, what could I do with this?" And I decided I should at least have a business card. And my cousin is a graphic designer, and she created the logo. And as soon as I saw the logo, I said, "That's it. I'm going to do something with that." And that was in 2002. So that was a long time ago. And
Wow.
so that's what inspired me. And it certainly was just a little hobby, once or twice a month that I was doing it. And then it kind of took on a life of its own. And I remember saying, what would happen if I actually paid attention to this? And then we were featured on the Rachel Ray show, and it kind of just, I'm not going to say exploded. It gained momentum, and it gained some notoriety. And it was just really fun. And I got immersed in it. And that was a long time ago, 2002. And here it is,
I am so grateful for your
19
daughter.
years later.
But she wanted those cookies, so we enjoyed them. We actually first met at a Woburn, a Women of Woburn Business Association activity where I got to taste your yummy cookies. That's how I fell in love with them. And
Wow.
I know, right? And that feels like a real lifetime ago because of COVID and those things not happening right now. But you have been wonderful. I've purchased cookies that you shipped as client gifts and book club gifts and all kinds of things along the way, and then a few indulgences for myself here and there. But tell me, as a new business, when you were first starting out, it's hard to get people to recognize what you're doing. What are some of the ways that you've helped spread the word in the community?
For the longest time, it was only word of mouth. And then what I did was join some networking events, chambers of commerce, business associations, BNI, Business Networking International, farmers markets. So I never had a marketing budget. So I had to really depend on word of mouth marketing. And it's still that way today. And it's wonderful. It's really good. This year of COVID, I have never been busier.
Isn't it? Because people want to send love, right? Like, I'm thinking of you. And
Absolutely. They can't get together. The Globe did an article on us back last April, the beginning of April, and it just took off. And I am so grateful because I am not a good person to have nothing to do. So
we don't want you to stop baking.
I've been able to bake. We're not mainstream. We don't have a brick and mortar location. I do have a commercial kitchen, but it's not where people come to see me. Everything is gift boxed and shipped. So
Well, I love it, and I'm grateful. Aside from my favorite lavender cookies, tell our audience a little bit about some of the other amazing treats. You have some amazing whoopie pies I've had.
we do all just basic, good old fashioned cookies. Nothing very decorated. I'm not very artistic, and they don't decorated items don't travel well.
Yeah.
So we use quality ingredients. We only use butter, real vanilla, and if you're a baker or you shop, you know that vanilla is off the charts, and it has been now for like a year and a half. But absolutely real vanilla. I tried a substitute, it didn't work, and it was obvious. So I really feel that the quality of ingredients speak for themselves. So we do the chocolate chip varieties, whether it's chocolate chip walnut, double chocolate chip, oatmeal chocolate chip. And it's the favorite. Most every order that comes in, chocolate chip is one of the choices. So we're
Isn't it
always baking
amazing?
chocolate chip.
It's amazing. I think there's just something about chocolate chip cookies that make you think of home and
Home, home
right.
comfort, absolutely.
Well, I love it. Thank you so much. For those who want to check out your fabulous baked goods, where what's your website URL or Facebook page or wherever you want to direct them?
Goodieshomemade.com. That's our website where you can see all the different varieties that we offer. We offer customized packaging. Um, we are on Facebook, Goodies Homemade /Facebook. Yeah, we're local, but our commercial kitchen is in Arlington. I was born and raised in Woburn. I moved away for many years and now you have come back. Now, I guess now it's been 4 years that I've been back. So
Well, it's wonderful. Welcome back. Thank you
thank you
so
so
much
much.
for sharing your story and bringing your fabulous baked goods to us. We're so excited to have
I
you.
appreciate the opportunity. Stay well, stay safe, and keep an eye on your front door.
Oh,
Okay.
I swear I didn't bring Susan on just to make her bring the cookies, but I'm not going to complain if she does.
Thank you for all your support. I appreciate it.
Oh, Susan does amazing work. I really have had so many compliments from clients that I've sent gift lungs. And when I host book clubs, I in person would do treats and we aren't able to be in person. So she's been so great about sending things. So thank you. We're going to switch gears now. I'm going to invite Tina to come on. Thank you, Susan. Tina,
You.
I'm so glad to have you here. You've picked up and helped support and adopt a high school senior program. For those who were not involved, I'm spoiled. My son was a senior last year and was so touched by the amazing, generous gift and good wishes that he received. And also I was blessed to give a few seniors gifts that felt like such a wonderful way to celebrate them. But for those who aren't familiar, tell us a little bit about the program.
Well, I agree with you. Last year, my daughter and I adopted 2 seniors and we had a blast doing it. And we felt so great that we were able to give them some sort of joy. So when somebody had mentioned it on Facebook, questioning was there going to be one this year, my daughter, who is a senior, I said to her, I said, would you mind if mom kind of spearheaded it? And she said, no, not at all. So I created a page and we're about 500 members and everybody in the community has been amazing. We have a little over 390 students and only 30 left to be adopted. It's wonderful. Everybody has been great. Everything's word of mouth. Unfortunately, I can't get lists of students from the high school or anywhere. So everybody has just been really great about letting me know what seniors. And, anybody that asks, I just tell them, it's kind of get a little bit of information on the senior you've adopted and gear your basket towards, what they're going to study in college or what they like for a sport. Last year, a couple of the girls we did, their college. We got them, shirts and gift cards and, what they liked, their sports and goodies, snacks, any little thing. It just brings joy to them because if you think about it, this year's seniors, and not saying that they have it worse than last year's, but they've basically just about lost their entire senior year. We're still not sure if they're going to get that prom or if they're going to get any activities. So it's just something to at least bring some excitement to them. I know I've reached out to some businesses about possibly, and I know the pandemic has hurt everybody. So, I even like a $5 gift card, just something extra for them. And I know there has been mention about a prom. So I've also reached out to some businesses about possibly donating, a service.
Mhm.
So, a student who, unfortunately, their parents may have been affected really bad, that they could turn around and maybe give them a free hairdo for the prom or nails or anything, like I said, I've asked them, anything, the smallest thing will just make something special for these kids. So I'm really hoping that will kind of take off too. So we'll see.
Well, that's a wonderful idea. I will say that many things that have happened in the pandemic, we want to go away and not become durable.
Yeah,
But this is one of those things I almost hope stays. I
I
don't.
do
It was originated because we felt that seniors were missing out. But the way I've seen the community come together and the sort of the love and joy, I think that, maybe will always be valuable, and what a wonderful way. I do want to compliment you and the folks who did this last year. I've had children who go to Woburn High. I've had children who don't, and who went to Northeastern, and it's Northeast Metro Tech. And it's wonderful that this is for Woburn seniors, regardless of what school they go to, because so
Yep.
much of the other things that happen is school related. And when the pandemic hit, schools that are multi-city schools have even more complications about bringing people together and being in the classroom and doing things. So this is such a great inclusive activity. And I do want to remind folks that if you are not able to get lists from schools, which is appropriate, and we need to protect privacy, but if you know of seniors and they want to confirm if they're on the list or nominate when they should, there's plenty of time to still reach out. And
Oh, definitely. The page is Adopt a Woburn Senior Class of 2021. I am constantly updating the list. And everybody's been great, because I get from people, oh, well, this student, and then this student, and then come to find out it's the same student. They've just spelled their name differently. And everybody's been great about it, because then I have to say to one person, well, they kind of adopted them under this name. But, like I said, everybody in the community has been amazing to see this happen for these kids. And it's not for any recognition. It just makes me feel good to know that there's something we can do for them. And I think it's great too, is the Kennedy Middle School has actually picked up the idea also, and they're doing it for their 8th graders.
oh, well, that's fun. I'm really appreciate you doing this, because this is a lot of work. And I don't want to make that. I do want to just address one question that comes up quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know that senior. I haven't been able to come up with a lot of information. And we had one family that we a few that we knew very well, and we had some that we couldn't get a lot of information for. And we just did Woburn stuff, right? I didn't know what their plans post high school were, but we got some snacks and Woburn orange and black stuff, and just things. So I don't want people to feel discouraged if they can't make it highly personalized. I think people are grateful for whatever they can do, and also there's no monetary minimum or anything here. People should feel comfortable participating at whatever financial level they feel they can do at this point in time, right?
Oh, no, definitely. And I've had people reach out to me and say, I've asked and nobody has answered about the student. And I've told them, maybe throw another post up there. But I figured when we get a little bit closer, maybe reach out to the high school and say, I have some parent people who have made baskets, and they don't know who this student is, or can they at least bring them here to the high school so you guys can make sure that the student gets it?
Yeah, and I think last year they were helpful in making,
Yeah,
keeping things private, but making sure the connections were happening and getting approval from
exactly.
parents and students to make that connection. So this is wonderful. You're way ahead of where we were last year in terms of time frame, so lots of time to still participate.
Yep.
Really appreciate you doing that. And for any of you who have a senior you'd like to recognize, if you want to provide a basket, team up with folks, right? This doesn't have to be just you. So if you
Yeah.
want to team up with a couple other people, because financially it's hard to do on your own, all of that. The other thing that I want to compliment is many of our local Woburn businesses provide fantastic items that go in. So I know that I've seen signage, I've seen Woburn hats and t-shirts, and Impress Graphics and Belmont Printing, and others have been amazing at creating things. And as we get closer, I expect we'll see, custom candies and all kinds of things. So
They've all been excellent.
it's a wonderful way for us to support seniors, but also our local businesses as well. So you get to do two good deeds in one, right?
Agreed.
I love it. Yeah, and gift cards are great, right? And all kinds of things. So thank you so much for joining us. Any other information that you'd like to share before we wrap up, Tina?
No, that was it. I appreciate you taking the time and having me come on. Thank you so much.
Excellent. Well, I love it. Thank you so much. And we'll make sure if at the end you have any seniors who haven't been adopted, as we get closer, let us know. We'll make sure to spread the word and get them covered.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. Next up, we have another senior program with Nicole Doherty, a different seniors, however, Smiles for Seniors. Welcome, Nicole. I can, Nicole. Who is this gorgeous
Hi.
woman with you?
Hi. Can you
what's
say
your
hi?
name?
Hi,
Can you say your name?
my name is BREE.
Bree, thank you so much for spelling that for me. That was really helpful.
And I'm 3.5.
Wow, you are amazing. Are you helping mom with the Senior Smiles program?
Are
Yeah.
you helping me with all the cards?
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, I love it. Well, Bree, I don't know if you want to answer or mom answers, you two decide, but for those who are watching the show, we'd love to learn tell us a little bit about what the program's about.
Sure. So we started this together, and just as a way to help bring some connection to our senior citizens in the area who are been isolated due to the pandemic. So around Halloween time, we realized we had a lot of crafts sitting around, didn't we, Bree? Did we
Yeah.
make a lot of Halloween crafts? And so we decided to take all those crafts and turn them into greeting cards and drop them off at an assisted living facility. And we just started with that. And then we thought, I bet there's other people who would help. And so we just went from there and just started advertising and hoping to find more people willing to participate. And it's gone really well. We've had a lot of success and getting kids and adults too, everyone really.
I think Bree's going to show us some of her artwork. I hope she does.
She might, yeah.
She's bringing it.
Do you want to
It's
show
really
something we made today?
We made this today.
Did you make that rainbow today?
Yeah, I mean, this one's going to be Dad, and that's Dad's name.
Oh, isn't that a nice one? And are you making things like that to give to the seniors, the cards? Have you made a bunch of cards?
Yeah. And now we just make a letter to tell them who they're from.
You made so that you know who it's from. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, I'm going to show you another one.
Okay.
One
There's
second.
another one to show me. Yeah, you can.
Good.
1 second.
Okay. So Nicole, this is great. So I have a mother-in-law who's been in a nursing home in New Hampshire, not in Woburn, but she's been really isolated and really lonely. And so I'm particularly touched by programs like this. Tell us, you've had incredible success. Tell us how many cards have been given out. Did you make one for mom too, Bree?
We did.
This was actually for Mom. How'd you notice?
I think I read it on the bottom of the cloud because somebody did a very good job labeling that.
Yeah, it was actually Mommy.
Yeah.
I'll go get one more.
Okay,
that's
one more.
I hope you know who's from.
I love it. I hope I have the text. I hope I can tell who it's from. Nicole, this is
To
great.
answer your question, we had, I would say, Christmas time. I'll be honest, I lost track around
This
Christmas
is my
time.
letters.
Yeah, this is our
Great,
last.
that is beautiful. That is your.
This is my letters.
I love that. I can see that. That's
All right,
very
so
cool.
sit for 1 minute so I can tell her and say that around Christmas time, I would say we got somewhere around like 1,500, and I stopped counting because I got a little rushed at the end. But over 1,500, probably over 2,000, I would guess. And then Valentine's Day, we did count and we got over 2,000 for Valentine's Day. And it's just been amazing. Like, it's just the number, like every day we go to the post office and check it, and it's like just more and more packages. And it's just so fun sorting them out. And then we go out and deliver them together, right? Are you my helper delivering all the cards?
Yeah.
So we bring them and make.
I think that's so wonderful. You're doing St. Patrick's Day right now. I think I've
We're
seen a
doing
bunch.
St. Patrick's Day right now. It was kind of a last minute decision, but
I just need to tell her something.
What?
There's a little sneaker that puts that they like gold.
are you talking about the leprechaun? The sneaky
The
little guy?
Do they get gold at the end of the rainbow?
Little guy.
Yeah. We've been
They
talking
have a
about
sneaker?
leprechaun.
They put it in a sneaker?
We have to put it under. We have to put it over the rainbow.
Oh, over the rainbow. Yes, I can understand that. Well, that's wonderful. So for those folks who might want to participate and share a card that you can pass along or nominate an individual person or facility that could use this kind of cheering up, how can they get in touch?
Yeah, so we have a Facebook group that I started. It's called Smiles for Seniors, and they can just search that group. I post like from that group in the Woburn Residents page too sometimes, so they can look there to find it too. Hold on 1 second. And then in the group, you can see sort of I kind of advertise different flyers for the different card drives. This is our third one we're doing now for St. Patrick's Day. And then hopefully we'll do another one in the spring at some point. But definitely on Facebook, or they can send me a message too through the group as well.
I love it, Nicole. Thank you for doing this lovely work. You make a wonderful trampoline also.
Oh.
And and Bree, thank you so much for all your help with Mom. This has been great. We're so excited. Before I let you go, can you just tell us a little bit about some of the feedback you've gotten from the seniors that have received the cards, or do you get a chance to
Yes, absolutely. Sure. I was actually lucky enough to be in 2 of the facilities Valentine's Day weekend when they were actually handing the cards out. I work as a hospice nurse, so I visit a lot of the facilities. So I was there and saw there were just so many people just so happy and smiling and sharing the cards with each other and showing each other like the different sayings that were in there. And it was really sweet. We've gotten a few thank you cards from facilities that I've tried to share in the group as well. And it's been a really nice response. People have received it really, really well. So I think it's been serving a lot of people. It's been really nice.
Well, thank you so much for that hard work. It is such a lovely, easy way to do something nice and generous. And Bree, thank you for all your hard work with Mom and building these cards. We appreciate it. And thank you all for watching in the community. And as always, please continue to take good care of each other.